presented by Crown Royal Regal Apple. Please drink responsibly.
Looking live, National Panel. Blasky and Gutierrez, Isola and Fagan. Now that is a lineup. Hello, Kate. Today, hello. Picks on, picks on, picks on, picks. No pick! No pick! Also, this guy's sense of depth perception.
Oh, get back in this.
That guy's nipples and this exchange.
You ever heard of the Heisman Trophy? I won that.
Let's go around the horn.
You don't know both.
Go on.
That kid was not impressed. Not impressed. Ever heard about the
It's Around the Horn, presented by Crown Royal Regal Apple, part of Happy Hour. Here's Tony Reali.
Heard about the mute button? Oh, I got him right here. Our last show before the Final Four and the final game, so let's take a last look before the last look of the tournament challenge. Frank Isola, rest in peace. Flashdance, old news. Gutierrez, Adon, they still are later, but sinking, and Fagan strong. If Kentucky wins,
hey, there we go.
Kate.
She'll win. She will
But
win.
it's not over yet. Also, real quick, look at this. New York, New York. So nice. They muted twice. First word.
It's the first word.
We start with Kentucky, Wisconsin, because you guys know the past. Last year's Final Four, Kentucky at the buzzer. And you know the present and what's at stake. And the panelists that were on Wednesday's show know the future, and it means dressing like a baked potato 1 month from now. Bill, you were on that future show, too. You've seen the future. How is this game won?
This game is won by Wisconsin. They have the formula to beat Kentucky. They can control the tempo, which Notre Dame did against Kentucky. They can control the offensive glass, which Notre Dame couldn't do against Kentucky, and they make their free throws down the stretch. Wisconsin has been the best second-half team in the tournament so far, and Kaminsky and Decker are experienced guys who know what they're doing in this situation. Kentucky is still a bunch of kids. I think Wisconsin wins.
So you've got Wisconsin here, and if we looked at your bracket, it would tell us that you have Wisconsin here.
No, I think...
Exactly. Israel, how about you?
Look, I think obviously Notre Dame did all of those things, and they still lost. And in a way, it's sort of preparation for Kentucky and what they're about to see again from Wisconsin. Now, I understand last year's was a one-point game, but this year I feel like Kentucky has gotten so much better. Just look at the personnel. Yeah, they lost James Young and Julius Randle, but Booker and Karl Anthony Towns might be a better pairing than those two. You throw in Willie Cauley-Stein, who didn't play in last year's game, and you've got a team that's harder to score against and just better overall, more balanced. And again, that scare against Notre Dame is probably going to do Kentucky some good. I just feel like they're far better than last year's team. Wisconsin, maybe a little better. Maybe Sam Decker is developing.
Okay.
They have options there in terms of defense.
Frank, how about you?
To throw at him.
And, Frank Kaminsky is a terrific player. Sam Decker was a revelation during the West Regional. But Kentucky, this is at a different level. Their length and size, I just think they're going to give Wisconsin all types of problems. And that Notre Dame game, Kentucky was losing late. And for a young team, that was a time where, let's see, would they get rattled? To me, the complete opposite happened against a pretty experienced Notre Dame team. I think if Kentucky was going to get picked off, it was going to be in that regional final, not against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's terrific. They can score. They're not going to be Kentucky.
Kate Fagan, how about you?
The worst thing to happen to Wisconsin was Kentucky playing Notre Dame in the previous game, because both Wisconsin and Notre Dame play a similar style. Both are very offensively efficient, and Kentucky now has a week to say, okay, we took Notre Dame's best shot. Here's what they do. How do we prepare? How do we tweak things against Wisconsin? I also think Sam Decker was a big reason Wisconsin advanced. He's shooting lights out from three-point. There's going to be some regression to the mean here because he's only shooting low 30s for the season. So I say Kentucky double digits.
So that's 3 for Kentucky. Plaschke, the 1 on Wisconsin. Back in.
Wisconsin, yeah, and Kate, you brought up offensive efficiency. Nobody's more efficient than Wisconsin. 127 points per 100 possessions. That's pretty incredible. And I think, again, also the pressure. The pressure now in Kentucky gets ratcheted up even more now. How do the kids handle it? I like Wisconsin.
Okay, so for this discussion of the #1 offensive efficiency team versus the #1 defense, you say offense, doesn't win championships, but it wins Final Four games. That's what you're saying right here. Frank, after the Horde.
Absolutely, and I think Willie Cauley-Stein not playing last year. I think he's more motivated than ever. And look at the defensive play he made at the end of the Notre Dame game. That's a big time play he made.
Notre Dame came into the game averaging 78 points, and they only scored 66. So Kentucky has shown what it does against offensively efficient teams.
We'll move on. Duke, Michigan State. You know the past. November 18th in Indianapolis, Duke by 10. You know the present and what is at stake. And, of course, panelists that were on Wednesday's show know the future, and it means Jar Jar Binks, Plasma 2, as the future panelist. Israel, can Michigan State keep this plucky run against Duke alive?
I don't think so. I'll give Michigan State credit for this. You know, all season long, they were a really good offensive team, and as all Tom Izzo teams do, they sort of ratchet up the defense in the tournament, so they're playing their best basketball of the year. It's just not going to be enough to beat Duke. Duke also happens to look like it's playing its best basketball of the year, and people just are sort of not really paying attention to how much talent is, especially in that starting lineup between Tyus Jones and Quinn Cook just at the guard spots. And then, you know, you got 2 lottery picks up there in Justice Winslow and Jahlil Okafor, obviously. So
you say Duke is underrated?
Wear down Michigan State.
Would you make the argument?
I think somehow they're underrated. Yeah, I think somehow they've been underrated.
Shaking his head no to that.
We love to
All right, it's not your FaceTime. Frank, you're shaking your head no.
Nah, if you went to Maryland, Duke is never underrated. Absolutely not. You know, they did play in November. I know it's not, you know, everyone wants to make it seem like it was, you know, years ago. It was November, and they did. Michigan State turned the ball over 13 times. They don't turn the ball over against anybody. And Duke in this tournament, in 4 games, opponents are shooting 24% on threes. So defensively, they get it done. And who's going to guard Okafor? Okafor shoots 65%. He's due for a breakout game. Matt Costello has to stay on the court for Michigan State.
Kate, how about you?
I think Michigan State is winning this game, and I think this is how they're going to do it. They're going to have fewer than 10 turnovers, right? They always take care of the ball, but they're going to do a little bit better on this one. They're going to make 8 3-pointers or more. In that matchup in November, they shot 5 for 20 from 3. You can't win that way. They're going to make 8 or more. Plus, I think they're assisting on 17, 18, 19% of their baskets. I think 19 will get them the win because I think that means that they're bringing Okafor out. And they're going to make him guard the pick and roll, and those guards are going to penetrate and pitch.
Well, you've accurately described what's going to happen. You haven't really said how it's going to happen. We'll get back to that. It's Bill. First, you.
No, I think Duke wins this game, Kate, and I don't think it's even close. And you go back to November, I know that was a long time ago, but the Duke guards, you know, Tyus and Quinn Cook, they combined for 36 points, 10 assists, 0 turnovers. With guard play like that, that's what wins in Final Four games is veteran guard play. And frankly, I think Coach K, believe it or not, has been underrated here. I don't think this is one of his best coaching jobs ever to put this team of young kids.
Do you believe this team's gotten better as the year has progressed than maybe any team? All right, Kate, so you said fewer than 10 turnovers, 8 3-pointers. How are they doing this? I know they can do it, but how?
Well, Bill mentions the backcourt of Duke. Michigan State's got a pretty good backcourt here with Trice and Valentine. I think they're going to control the tempo of this game and make sure and keep Michigan State under control and make sure they hit those numbers.
Israel.
Duke can control the tempo by throwing it inside to Jahlil Okafor. You're going to have to make a choice there. Do you double him, or do you say, hey, Costello, you can handle him, or somebody else there? I don't think that's going to happen. You've got to make a choice there, and I think Duke is, and Okafor's kind of due for a big game as well.
Okay, so we have 3/4 of the panel then saying Duke, 3/4 of the panel saying Kentucky. Monday's final. Frank, what would be the better story for college basketball? Kentucky undefeated, or someone breaking it up?
Well, I mean, you know, if you had George Mason or Virginia Commonwealth on the other side of the bracket, I would pick the underdog. Duke is not, you know, they're not going to play, you know, the little engine that could in this one. So I think it's Kentucky going undefeated. The winner gets a national championship. The loser, in this case, maybe Okafor, he gets drafted by the Knicks.
I got Kentucky, Michigan State, so it's a philosophical question of whether I want to witness something amazing, Michigan State winning, or if I want to witness a historical moment. I would love to witness something amazing, but I think it's going to be history. I think Kentucky undefeated.
Israel, history, amazing moment. What do you got?
Well, the best story is just, first of all, having Kentucky in the final. That has to happen. And then I think Kentucky-Duke, just because of the history, because of, you know, the powerhouse of the programs. And my argument here is I don't know if Kentucky winning it all, going 40-0, if they're really an all-time great team just because they went undefeated, if you look at the roster compared to previous great teams, or, you know, maybe Duke defeating them and upsetting them is kind of the better story.
All right, Flashkey, you don't even have Kentucky in the final, but what would be the better story then?
Who's more, everybody talk about history, who's more celebrated in history, David or Goliath? David is. A better story would be the underdog beating Kentucky. Absolutely. That's a better story.
Wow, you went really big picture there. I didn't see that one coming. David Goliath, okay.
Also,
hot take analysis from Flashkey. I think that was our horn. We'll take a break here. Coming up, buy or sell. And it is an Around the Horn investigation into NFL teams spying on or monitoring potential draft picks.
Same thing.
Stick around. David versus Goliath. I like it. Stay small. Biblical hot.
Around the Horn is presented by Crown Royal Regal Apple. Smooth to the core. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
buy or sell?
Quick scoring adjustment during the break because we got so many emails about it. Goliath fans want me to say too soon, Plashke, on the David versus Goliath. It's buy or sell now. Number one, Josh Hamilton. Arbitrator ruling today Major League Baseball cannot suspend or do anything to him after his admitted drug and alcohol relapse. In the statement, MLB said it disagreed with the decision, believed that Hamilton violated his treatment program and that the commissioner would address the deficiency in the system. Angels, in a statement of their own, disapproved of the ruling as well. Bill, buy or sell today's news?
Totally selling today's news. It's a terrible decision. Basically, a player has admitted that he has done cocaine and alcohol, and he's not going to miss any time, not going to be suspended. That takes all the teeth out of baseball's drug policy. Plus,
so what do you think that play here? A cultural shift
look,
of what drug addiction is? Is it viewed as a disease or what?
Yeah, I think you got to go back to the bargaining table. Plus, the Angels don't want Josh Hamilton back. It's almost like an A-Rod situation. They owe more than $80 million. They don't want him back. Now they don't know what they're going to do about it.
So if it pokes holes in the drug policy of Major League Baseball, then Major League Baseball should fix its drug policy. But in terms of punishing Josh Hamilton, if a third party comes out and says, no, he self-reported this, it did not violate his treatment program, then why is MLB so in a rush to want to punish him? Like, what good is that going to do Josh Hamilton or anybody else? It's just MLB that would benefit from that.
Yeah, and we know why the Angels, don't like this ruling. They're trying to get out of that contract. But it does open up a can of worms here, because what if a player thinks he's going to fail a drug test, but then self-reports it in advance? Because now you have a precedent of a player doing that and getting off.
Kate Fagan?
Yeah, this seems like it's a technical loophole because, as Frank pointed out, it's not like Josh Hamilton was being tested every 6 months here. It was every 3 days. So it was self-report or you were about to fail a drug test. So Major League Baseball needs to close the loophole.
Buy or sell two, Matt Harvey. 593 days since he last pitched in a game. Thomas Jonathan in his rear view. He was lights out in spring training. Mets have slotted him as the number 3 starter in the rotation. 30 starts, 190 innings, available for the postseason should they make it. That's their plan, Israel. What do you think of that?
I'm good with it. I mean, we've seen enough evidence of complications coming off of Tommy John surgery. And this guy's not only a superstar, but is on the verge of being a mega superstar. Really wants it. You've got to hold him back a little bit.
Frank?
He already thinks he's a mega superstar. He thinks he's Derek Jeter, and his career record is 12-10. The Mets, who make tons of mistakes, are actually doing the right thing because he's coming back from surgery. They have to protect him from himself.
Kate Fagan.
Yeah, this is a guy who wanted to pitch at the end of last year, so I have absolutely no belief that if he felt a twinge, he would let them know. So they better limit his minutes and try and keep some semblance of that pitching staff.
Limit his minutes, huh? Like he's a basketball player.
Basketball
it comes down to
happening.
minutes on the mound, really, not just pitches or innings count. Right, go ahead, Plashke.
Yeah, if any organization needs to monitor the way it handles pitchers, it's the Mets. Remember, Johan Santana, 134 pitches on a no-hitter, and they let him go. So, yeah, they've got to do this for themselves and for Matt Harvey, because it gets the Major League lineups now facing him. It gets for real now. It's not spring training anymore. This is, it's going to be very difficult.
All right. Here we go. ATH investigation into NFL teams spying on potential draft picks. Now, you guys are going to have to tell me the difference between spying, monitoring, investigating, just plain checking somebody out. Buccaneers GM Mark Dominic said Thursday on ESPN Radio his team monitored Justin Blackmon in 2012, had an investigator sit at a bar in Oklahoma State, count the number of times Blackmon came in, took him off the board when the number became numerous. Well, George Whitfield, Jameis Winston's QB coach, told Yahoo Winston was secretly shadowed by an NFL team on a recent flight. Frank, how far is too far, something like this?
Oh, come on, Tony. You know what? You call it spying. It's called due diligence. All the money that you're investing in, guys, and people talk about analytics, this and that, a lot of it still is character. I don't have a problem with it at all. If you want to talk invasion of privacy, what about those pictures of Tom Brady from the scouting combine? That's invasion of privacy.
Winston as well.
My concern here is who is doing the observing of Winston and what are that person's sensibilities? Because that guy, and I'm assuming it's a guy, is going to notice very different things than I might notice when it comes down to defining somebody's character. So if this guy has an NFL sensibility, do we even think they are noticing the right things to assess character
Right.
in
I mean,
NFL?
if you're asking how he handles flight attendants on a plane, I mean, what are we studying on a plane?
What if he's drinking on the plane?
Yeah, I don't think it matters who's watching it. I think they have to be watching. Frank's exactly right. You're giving millions of dollars to 21-year-old kids. This is just being smart. And the players, the evasion of privacy, their privacy ends when their willingness to take $20 million from the football team.
But he hasn't taken it yet. Okay, Gutierrez, how about you?
Again, but what are we looking for? With Blackmon, yes, those specific thing they wanted to do. They went to the bar, saw he went to the bar way too often for their liking. I'm out on him. That's fine. But with Jameis Winston, again, on a plane, what are you looking for with him? To see if he tries to throw an impromptu party in that plane and break down a bunch of bottles of liquor? I mean,
was not in the upright position upon landing. I mean, we got to crack down on that.
I mean,
Kate,
that's a dangerous
last word for
thing.
you,
Yeah.
Evan the Horn.
Like, I'm fine with trailing a guy, but the person you have trailing him better not just be in line with NFL sensibilities, which have never proven themselves very accurate in judging somebody's character.
Okay. There was a horn in there, and Plashke, you are the first to go. Your past is now present. Wave goodbye. That's it. Lightning round next. Gutierrez, Isola, Fig. And coming up, Bo knows Bo. But why a 12-year-old shouldn't, and why that's okay.
I won that.
How many 25-year-olds in the White Sox do you think know who Bo is, by the way?
Not a lot.
Board.
Welcome back to Around the Horn, presented by Crown Royal Regal Apple, part of Happy Hour.
Vegan 19, Gutierrez 18, Isola just 17. You know what I mean. It's the lightning round. And lightning one, Bo Jackson and Drake LaRoche, Adam LaRoche's son, mic'd up at spring training.
Kansas City, the Chicago White Sox, and the California Angels. And I played with the Raiders.
What are the Raiders are from?
They were in Los Angeles, but they're in Oakland now. I'm the only player to make it to the Pro Bowl in football and the All-Star game in baseball.
Seeing that play out like that, Israel, what were your thoughts? And are you giving Drake LaRoche a pass?
I'm sorry. If this Drake LaRoche is indeed 13 years old, he does not get a pass here. I mean, your dad's a baseball player. You see Bo Jackson, when he hits him on the head, he's saying, you should know this, son. Like, this, all these things. I mean, you at 13 years old, when I was 13, I knew who, for example, like Bill Russell was or, you know, O.J. Simpson was. I mean, your dad's a baseball player. You should know these things.
Isola?
Oh, man, he's a young kid. And Bo Jackson, you would want Bo Jackson talking to your son or your daughter like that, showing so much compassion. I think it's just sad. You know what it means? We're all getting old, because I remember Bo Jackson when he was a dominant football player and baseball player, but I know that's not true of everybody.
Dave?
Yeah, I know it's painful, and we want so badly for the next generation to adopt the athletic superstars of the previous generation. But guess what? They anoint their own, and the kids seemed pretty respectful and impressed, appropriately oppressed.
Yeah, he did. He did seem. And, you know, the other thing is, I mean, he was born a decade after Bo was done playing, and the commercials were ancient history, and Tecmo Bowl, which lives forever, was still not being played by his generation.
30 for 30.
I love seeing Bo so fatherly there. You know, it was very, very nice to see. Lightning 2. The Chris Motenson report is the Browns are 90% moved on from Johnny Manziel, who's expected to be out of rehab this month. Frank, what percent of that 90% is the right call by Cleveland, and what percent are they needing a quarterback in this draft then?
I would say 100% of their 90%. You know, they get to see Johnny Manziel every single day in practice. They saw him play. It's a quarterback league. Who makes the playoffs? The teams with the good quarterback. Who wins? The teams with the great quarterback. The Browns are onto something.
What exactly has changed about Johnny from when they used a first-round pick on him 11 months ago, other than he went to rehab? They should be more impressed with him right now because of the mature decision to go to rehab. They also made him their starter late in the season. So obviously what they saw along the way impressed them in some degree.
22nd pick. Israel, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it should be about 50-50 in terms of where they stand with Johnny Manziel, because you don't know what he's going to come out and be like this particular season. You know, the skill set's still going to be there. Obviously, the height's always going to be a problem, but you drafted him anyway. I think you should at least give him a chance, and don't give up too much to try to find a replacement for him, because then you're trying to pile mistake on top of mistake on top of mistake.
Good point, Israel. All right, for the 13-year-olds out there in our audience right now who may not be familiar with your work, Israel, what do you say?
Study up. Study up, kids. And Billy Donovan, don't go anywhere.
All right, straight ahead for Isola and Fagan in Showdown when front row seats become field passes. Oh, boy. And when hockey brawl is so hot, you just got to take your shirt off.
Around the Horn is presented by Crown Royal Regal Apple. Smooth to the core. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
All right. Don't need to tell you guys, pressing teams do not like to get pressed. We've got two pressers right here, Isola and Fagan. Good luck to you both. Showdown 1. this leak from the fan who missed the foul ball by at least 10 feet, right? Beer explodes as gravity tends to do things. Are you going to applaud the hustle and determination or mock the lack of depth perception and desperation on the Mets, Frank?
You know what, for a guy his age, I have to mock it. On the one hand, he's got women sitting to his right, and in front of him, the most judgmental of all athletes, baseball players, and he makes that kind of play. This is a disaster, start to finish. Absolutely.
Confession. I used to go to Red Sox games thinking I would get put into the game. So this guy's actually kind of living my dream. I don't care what age you are. That's the dream, and you go for it.
That wasn't a dream.
I still want to hear more about thinking that you're going to be brought into the game. Like, they're just going to bring in Fagan. What was this dream? Like last week? Boyd Fagan. Show that too. This Russian hockey conversation that led to this Russian hockey brawl, which led to this Russian hockey bod in full view for everybody. Is all fair in a savage Donnybrook like this, or would you prefer it if someone nippled this in the book, Kate?
This is basically the most Russian thing that's ever happened, right? He's on the ice, he's flexing, and he doesn't even seem cold. That's the most Russian part of all. He's not even trying to put that jacket back on.
Kate, if you've ever been in a hockey fight, you know you pull the guy's shirt over his head. This way he can't punch, and you could punch his head. I know this from experience.
Well, Kate's only been watching Bruins games expecting to be asked into the game. That's what she's doing. We're going to give Fagan the FaceTime here.
All right, as so many people have probably already heard, Indiana passed the Religious Freedom Bill, caused tons of uproar. Now, the key thing is not this year's men's Final Four, but it's next year's women's Final Four, which is going to be held in Indianapolis. Indiana just amended the bill, but it doesn't do enough. The state of Indiana does not have widespread rights protecting LGBT people. They need to make LGBT people a protected class. That way they can keep the women's Final Four in Indy. If not, get it out of there.
Kate Fagan, today's champion. And that's going to do it, folks. Thanks for coming around. Take a Monday off, 95.5-hour break. Happy Easter.
Geico presents Strange Saving Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
ESPN Radio.
With the action on the court, the diamond, or the gridiron.
Comes alive.
The NBA.
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Major League Baseball.
San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
The new college football playoff.
College football playoff national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
You're home for the best in sports play-by-play.
ESPN Radio.
Two of baseball's best go head-to-head in interleague action when the Tigers head to St. Louis to face the Cardinals.
That one is gone.
The pregame at 7 Eastern, first pitch at 8, Sunday on ESPN and ESPN Radio.